What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to talk about the COLA increase for 2026. And I want to talk a little bit about Medicare Part B, because in the previous video, I did talk a little bit about the projections. We'll go over the projections when it comes to COLA, so the increase that we'll probably see. But I also want to talk about Medicare Part B and how that's going to take a large portion of this increase. And so that's what I want to focus on in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to take a look at are the projections. Okay, so the Senior Citizens League, they do a pretty good job of doing these predictions. Last year they were spot on. They said COLA for 2025 would be 2.5%, and guess what? It was 2.5%. And so right now, their projection is that COLA will be at around 2.6%. Now, if we go back the last several months, we start in February, we see their projection was 2.3%. In March and April, their projection was 2.4%. In May, their projection was 2.5%. In June, their projection was 2.5%. And in July, their projection is 2.6%. So you see that it's gradually increasing. And this is what's showing us here that COLA will probably be around that 2.6%. It could be even higher. But looking at the current data that we have, we do see that inflation is continuing to rise. Okay, now I want to look at some of the other projections that are out there. We have Mary Johnson. Her projection is between 2.6 and 2.7%. And Tips Watch has a projection of 2.8%. And then other media outlets, 2.3, between 2.3 and 2.4%. But looking at these numbers, these are even higher than what the Senior Citizens League, or at least Mary Johnson has it between 2.6 and 2.7, but Tips Watch has it above, so 2.8%. And so what does that mean in numbers when we're looking at Medicare Part B? So Medicare Part B, the projections here, it's going to be about $206.50. That will be 2026 premium. And so that will be an increase of $21.50. Now, what's important for us to look at is the percentage increase. So you see the percentage increase is going to be 11.6% increase. That is Medicare Part B. And when we look at and compare that to COLA, the projection is between 2.6 and 2.7. Let's just say that that's the number. Well, you see 2.6, 2.7, that's well below an 11.6% increase. And so what this is going to mean for some people receiving Social Security benefits, and I think they're saying if you receive around $800 per month, you're not going to see a COLA increase at all, because Medicare Part B is going to take that whole increase. And so those are the numbers right now when we're comparing COLA, the COLA increase, to the Medicare Part B increase. And remember, we're using the CPIW. We're not using the regular CPI. So regular CPI might be, for example, 2.7%. CPIW for June was 2.6%. And so that's what we're looking at, the CPI for wage earners and clerical staff. Now, they're using this metric to calculate, and they're going to take July, August, and September, so the next 3 months. That is what they're going to use to calculate COLA for 2026. We'll have that information the second week of October, so that's when it will come out. They'll announce it. And when it comes to who will receive the COLA increase first, it's going to be people receiving SSI. They're going to receive it in December, at the very end of December. And then everyone else receiving Social Security benefits, SSDI, they'll start receiving their increase in January. And so I just wanted to give you guys a quick update when it comes to that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at a few comments that you guys posted. And this comment is coming from William. It says, David, 3,920,028 illegals were given Social Security and Medicaid in the last 4 years. Is this true? Please respond. Now, whenever I get information like this, and the reason that I pulled this up to talk to you guys about is because when you're giving me information like this, send me a link to where you're getting the information from. Is this a news article, or is this something that you heard, you watched a YouTube video and someone said this? That's very important, because that will give me an idea of, is this information correct or not correct? Yes, I can do the research and try to find out on my own, but I might not find those exact same numbers that you're quoting there. But I will say this, when it comes to Social Security benefits, and I'm going to continue to say this because this is the truth, people who are not legally here will not be able to get Social Security benefits. And that is a fact. And the reason for that is because, first off, you need to have a Social Security number. You need to have worked 10 years, documented work for 10 years in order to earn the credits to qualify for Social Security benefits. And so if you do not have that, you are not going to qualify for Social Security benefits. If you are not legally here and you're not documented, how are you going to receive Social Security benefits? Please explain that to me. So anytime you hear, and trust me, there are politicians out there that are saying this. There are other people that are out there that are saying this, and I've heard it before, but it's just not true. All you need to do is think logically. How could that work? And I'll use myself as an example. Right now, I don't have the full credits to collect Social Security benefits. I worked, I earned a pension, I did not pay into Social Security. Now I'm working and I'm paying into Social Security, and so eventually I will have the credits. But right now, I don't qualify for Social Security benefits. And you also need to be at the age where you can start collecting, 62 or over. And so the myth that people are coming over here illegally and they're collecting Social Security benefits, it is absolutely not true. And if you find an article, please, in the comments, you can send me an email, send me that link, and I'll take a look at these articles and these videos or whatever, and I'll debunk what they're saying because it's absolutely not true. Now, what some people get confused about, the Social Security Administration, they administer SSI as well. Okay, SSI is not Social Security. They're two different things. Social Security is coming from the trust funds. So that's the FICA. When you're working and you're contributing, that money goes over to the trust funds and that money comes out and pays out benefits. But when it comes to SSI, that money is different. That's coming from the general fund. And so even if you wanted to make the argument with SSI, to receive SSI, you have to be a documented immigrant. You need to legally be here. If you're not legally here, you're not going to be able to receive SSI as well. Now, there are some other programs that are out there that will provide benefits for people, okay? But that's not Social Security. That's not SSI. And so I think it's very dangerous when we have people out there that are putting this misinformation out because it makes Social Security look like the program is broken and the program needs to be completely done away with. And that is the goal of some people. You have some Congress people right now that want to do away with Social Security. And one of the ways that they can do that is make it look like the program is just a complete mess. You remember when Elon Musk was running Doge and they were talking about Social Security, saying it's the biggest Ponzi scheme and they've never seen any, scheme this bad ever in the history of the country. They're talking about Social Security. That's what they were talking about. Why are they doing that? Because they want to dismantle it. They want to get rid of it. And on this channel, we mainly talk about Social Security. We don't really talk too much about Medicaid. We do talk a little bit about Medicare because it does impact Social Security at times. But please, when you get this information, send me a link so we can really break it down, and I'll show you exactly why whatever this article that's talking about this or whatever video is talking about this, why they're wrong. And let me end with this. Could there be people who are not legally here using someone else's Social Security number, and that person has already earned the credits, and taking their Social Security benefits, stealing it from them, robbing it from them? That's a possibility. But I'm telling you, that is not very common. And if it would be just like any other person, whether you're illegally here or you're legally here and you're stealing Social Security, that is against the law, obviously. But if we're saying close to 4 million people, undocumented people, were receiving Social Security benefits because they were taking other people's Social Security numbers and using their Social Security numbers, I'm telling you that's not the case. Okay, so those numbers, I mean, if we're looking at anything like that, it would be a very small, maybe 1% or less than 1% of people who are not legally here taking Social Security benefits from other people. That just doesn't happen. And the reality is a lot of people that are not legally here, that are working and that are paying, contributing to FICA, they're never going to see that money because they're not documented. So there's no record that they were actually working and earning it. And so let's say this scenario is at play. Let's say you have someone that's not legally here. They're using someone else's Social Security number. They are working. They're contributing to FICA. Guess what? They're not going to see that money. The undocumented person won't see that money, but the person who it's their Social Security number, guess what? They might get a little extra as a result of that because you have someone that's using your Social Security number showing that you are bringing in more income than you actually are. And so I wanted to make sure that I made this clear. When it comes to people who are not legally here, they are not collecting Social Security benefits unless they are criminals out there. And I mean, it would take a lot in order for you to be able to collect Social Security benefits, because you also need to think about it this way. You'd have to be a pretty big scammer in order to do that, because you're using their Social Security number. You're going to have information because you need to file for Social Security. And so you're going to have that information. And so it would be a pretty sophisticated operation in order to collect Social Security benefits. So if you guys have any other questions, post them down below. Remember, you can send me an email, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video if you like it, subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.